be 10%.
But the Venezuelan example, is it not a controversial one? I mean, it seems to me that the Venezuelan example is not the primary attraction for foreign investors. It's almost like nationalization.
No, it's not nationalization. They come once a while to be very, very controversial. But despite that, all the major oil companies are still there, like BP, Chevron, ExxonMobil. You know, they are still there because they are still making money out of it. But even if you want to talk of the best practice in Norway, Norwegian government take is almost about 80 to 85%. And that is considered even a best practice. It is in a very good democratic country.
But the government there makes substantial investment itself? I mean,
yes,
the resources are.
Yes. Well, what is happening is that the government is using Statoil. And Statoil has been in existence for maybe 50 to 60 years. That is the equivalent of our GNPC. So now that we have discovered oil, we need to capitalize the GNPC.
So the national oil company is key for us.
Yeah, it's very, very key for us. Yeah. And that is why in the laws that are yet to be promulgated, we need to define the role of GNPC properly.
Is it not a place? Shouldn't it not be more activity for the private sector? I mean, if you take a place like the UK, the industry originally, I mean, I understand that there was a place, I agree, for a national oil company like BP, but over time they passed it on to the private sector. They are the ones with the resources to do this.
Yes, I think that as far as oil and gas is concerned, this is a strategic commodity that you just don't pass it on to private sector to handle. And secondly, the general model so far has been that national oil companies have a role to play. And I believe that for all the producing countries in the world, about 80% of the producing countries would always use national oil companies.
So ownership is important?
Yes, so that is ownership. It's very, very important.
Yes.
And again, not just the ownership, but you also be able to build technology for the country's national oil company.
Yeah, it takes time.
Yes,
so
already.
We don't have the expertise.
Yeah, but that is why GNPC is there. Look at where we came from the 1990s up till today. We have improved a lot in our technology. I mean, we used to dabble with 2D seismic. Today, GNPC can go ahead to look at 3D imaging seismic, processing the data, and actually participating. So, and we also have built the capacity. Even though we need to do more, we have very good and excellent geophysicists, geologists, petroleum engineers, etc. I think where we lack a little bit is reservoir engineering and reservoir management, and there may be a few production engineers. And that is why with this Cosmos Tolo discovery, if we partner with them and we start the production, then we are going to then learn more technology on production. Very important for GNPC is how to actually evaluate your reserves. And that is where the reservoir management and reservoir knowledge is very important.
This is a modular gas turbines that we are installing for VRA. Apart from the bigger industries in Tema, we can supply all the needs of Tema. Its location is based on the anticipation of getting the West African gas pipeline gas. It's about 97% ready. We can even replicate this in, say, Kumasi, Tamale, or Wa. All our transactions have been passed through Fidelity Bank. They have actually been our partners in this project from the very beginning. They put up the financial package for us. Insurance, bonds, we appreciate their services. They are very flexible with us, and we think they have been a good partner.
What is the attraction to Trinidad and Tobago?
Good. Trinidad and Tobago is an oil and gas producing country, but mainly their gas policy has been very good, and therefore the attraction for Ghana is on two phases. One, Trinidad is a small country. Two, we can consider it a developing economy, which means that it fits into Ghana the state that we are in our economy.
You mean there are parallels there, so there's similarities?
Yeah, there are similarities. Then they really use indigenous human resources to be where they are.
What do you mean? You mean local? They use
the
people
local,
from
yes. So you have their petroleum engineers, you have their geophysicists, you have their financial gurus, you have their Ministry of Energy, and all these people have learned gas technology. Now, what Ghana really needs from Trinidad and Tobago is their model for gas. That is gas infrastructure, and then the usage of the gas. That is the processing of the gas to other valued added products. And then the establishment of what we call an industrial estate, whether it is a petroleum or a chemical or a petrochemical industrial estate. That is the model we want to pick from Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay, but do we have a clear idea of what we want to do with the substantial gas deposits that accompany the oil in the Jubilee fields?
Yes. First of all, we want to use the gas basically and most important for power generation. That will be the first phase. The second phase is to use the dry gas for petrochemical. That is to produce things like methanol.
Or for fertilizer and
then to also produce fertilizers and other chemicals, including urea. And then the other products is what we call natural gas liquids, which have high values, like propylene, etc. Those will be stripped from the gas and then loaded onto tankers. They'll be compressed and then exported. It has a good market. Then LNG also has a good market. Then the dry gas, which is the methane, is what would then power our thermal plants along the coast.
Electricity.
Now, electricity. So if we are saying that we are talking about 5,000 megawatts at electricity by maybe 2015, for example, then our thermal complementarity should be very high. And that is where we need the gas. But what we would need, the West African gas pipeline, is the fact that pipeline construction is very expensive. So
we will use that facility?
Yes. So we would use that facility for reversal flows here and there. And it is even possible then Benin and even Togo could then say, look, Ghana is more reliable,
yeah, so
let's use it.
Gas
so that it means that we'll save the infrastructure costs from Abuazi up to the east, which is Tema, etc. And then we'll only build new infrastructure
to serve these other countries.
Yeah, but it will all be commingled.
Yeah. Let's talk about the gas plant.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's been quite a bit of talk about how we will take the gas offshore and bring it onshore. What is the status of this plant? Because, again, we're talking, where is the gas plant?
Okay. First of all, you don't build a processing plant when you haven't yet completed your plan of development of the fields. And I think government a month ago had signed the plan of development and production of the fields between Cosmos and Tolo. Yeah. Now we are in a stage where we are going to construct the FPSO. Yeah. It is this FPSO that is going to produce the oil and gas and separate the gas. Now, as I talk to you, GNPC had shortlisted
companies for the gas plant.
For the gas.
But that's been for some time now.
No, it has not.
So when will we complete this process of saying we now know that X company
are involved,
are going to build the gas plant?
Yes. As I said, we have shortlisted. Tendering processes have taken place. Companies